Hello. Today I want to talk about the infamous MCC, the Metropolitan Correctional Center, downtown Chicago, right there in the Loop on Van Buren and Clark. This place has housed most of your Chicago outfit guys. Um, they've had major issues here for years. Corruption has ran rapid. In 1985, they had an escape. They had an escape plot in 2009, and then a full escape in 2012. Now, right across the street from the Board of the Trade on Van Buren and Clark is the MCC. This is a medium federal secure prison. It opened in 1975, 28 stories. It houses 700 inmates, a lot of violent inmates, a lot of Chicago outfit mob guys, a lot of the gang leaders, a lot of the drug cartels, terrorists, rapists, you name it. This is the worst of the worst. Now here's two geniuses, two federal inmates, Joe Banks and Ken Colley. They planned and actually were able to escape from the MCC back in December of 2012. I'll never forget it. My friends and I went down there where the news reporters were reporting right outside the MCC. These guys were able to chisel through a concrete wall and climb down through bed sheets. No, I think this is genius. I would have gave them a full pardon. These guys accumulated all these bed sheets. They used dental floss to tie them real tight as their rope, and then they chiseled an opening there in that very tiny slot window. They squeezed their body out that window, and they used the dental floss rope to scale all the way down. They got in a cab, hailed a cab, and escaped. Now, after these guys scaled down the MCC wall at night without nobody seeing them, without breaking any bones, all under the guards' watch, they were somehow able to hail a cab, go all the way out to Tinley Park, which is about an hour drive south. They split up. The black guy went back to the hood, where he eventually got caught, and Kenneth got captured in a different state a few months later. Master escape. Now, here's disgraced, corrupt police chief Michael Corbett. Unfortunately, I had a chance to know this guy. He used to harass me and my friends back in high school. Real lowlife. He got pinched for conspiracy to kill Alan Masters' wife, Diana. He actually dumped the car knowing her dead body was in the trunk. This guy couldn't even spend 2 days in the MCC before he cooperated. Joey Lombardo had him hit, and he wanted Scarpelli to do the work, but it never got carried out. Now here's Jerry Scarpelli, made member of the Chicago outfit. This guy ran with the infamous Wild Bunch crew. And when he was in the MCC, allegedly he committed suicide. Somehow he killed himself with his hands behind his back and a plastic bag around his head. Frankie Schweiss was on the same floor when this happened. Now here's Frank the German, aka Hitler. Uh, Unfortunately, this guy was too sick to stand trial at the Family Secrets trial, but I cannot imagine him being right next to Frank Calabrese Sr., Little Jimmy, the Indian, or Joey the Clown. He could not control his temper in the courtroom, but allegedly he was at the MCC the same time Scarpelli killed himself. Poor Frank, he was just about to get out of prison. Then he gets indicted in the Family Secrets trial, knowing there's a good chance his brother and his son Junior are about to testify against him. He was so upset while he was sitting in the MCC that Joe Lopez had to calm him down and tell him, Frankie, you're going to have a fucking heart attack in the MCC. But luckily he lived for the trial. Now, Jimmy the Man, he's no stranger to the MCC either, but actually he preferred staying at the MCC. And one night he got woken up in the middle of the night and they gave him the flight therapy. They flew him far away, somewhere out west. He was freaking livid. He demanded immediate hearing, and Judge Zagel agreed. He actually likes the MCC because it's close to his family. Now, during Tough Tony, the other Calabrese's trial, outside the jury's presence, the prosecution brought up that how he was behaving himself at the MCC. He threatened two guards that he'd kill him either on the inside, he would do it personally, or he'd have them and their families killed on the outside. The judge took it very serious. Now, one of my favorite trials was the Mike Large Guy Sarno trial, along with co-defendant Mark Polkman. Mark was a high-ranking outlaw gang member. This guy was the best safe cracker in the country, one of the best. And he was on tape going on and on complaining about how horrible the food was at the MCC. Now, any inmate or defense lawyer who's been here, guys like Joe the Shark Lopez, Ed Jensen, will tell you this is the nastiest place they've ever seen. The conditions here are deplorable. There's feces, there's blood all over the wall. It smells. The guards are all corrupt. The warden, Catherine Leanwire, does absolutely nothing. They've had 3 escapes in numerous problems and corruption for years at the MCC. Now, Rocky and his crew, they were all found guilty at the Good Ship Lollipop trial. And here's a photo where they're leaving court, cuffed, shackled, heading back to the MCC. And I heard that Rocky, he controlled not only the guards, but the entire floor of the MCC while he was there. Rocky and Felice ended up dying in federal prison. Now here's Mike, Large Guy Sarno. Unfortunately, he did a couple short stints at the MCC. And aside from being home and close to his family, that's a tough place for a guy like Large to spend time because of the brutal conditions. Large was found guilty and got, I think, like 30 years in the bombing of a Berwyn rival, Mike Sarno. Now, Joey, while he was on the lam, he pleaded with his lawyer and Judge Zagel if he turned himself in, if he could get a separate trial from some of the other defendants. And, obviously he got pinched and ended up going to the MCC. That obviously wasn't Joey's first rodeo being at the MCC, but Joey described the MCC as inhumane and very cruel conditions. Now here's an old friend going back to the mid-'80s. You got the Greek guy in the South Side, John Kappas. He was one of the biggest coke dealers back in the day, and if you and your friends were out doing blow, there's a good chance you were getting it from him, indirectly or directly. When he got pinched, though, he was surprised that the cops were taking him downtown. He thought he was going to the county building. He ended up spending time at the MCC. Now, another inmate, Alfredo Hernandez. This is one of El Chapo's guys, major drug cartel that distributed cocaine and heroin from the Midwest to other cities throughout the country. He is an inmate at the MCC, and at one point he asked if he can go on the roof for exercise, but the judge wouldn't allow because they thought they would escape with a helicopter. This little low-life terrorist here, he's sitting in the MCC. He's been desperately trying to get out now for a few years. He was charged with talking to an undercover agent on tape, planning to blow up that famous bar over there called Cactus. It's a bar a lot of the traders go to, a lot of babes, a lot of really cool bar right there in Chicago in the Loop. But he was planning on blowing that up. Another infamous inmate at the MCC that did a short stint there is this chomo pedophile R. Kelly. And at one point, when they were transporting one inmate to court, he actually attacked R. Kelly at the MCC and pretty much gave him a pumpkin head. And R. Kelly was scared for his life and wanted out of the MCC. Now, this guy was an inmate at the MCC, a notorious inmate there. He was a high-ranking member of a Latin gang, and he actually sued for a wrongful conviction case and won $25 million. And rather than go away and retire with his family and enjoy his life, this clown got back into the gang life and ended up back in jail. Now, one unique thing about the MCC is that they have the exercise yard on the roof of the building. So if you behave yourself, you can come out here and exercise and even play basketball. You get a nice, beautiful view of downtown Chicago, reminding you of what freedom is like. And then some of the inmates have it set up where they actually watch strippers dance naked in the parking lot across the street. Now, across the street from the MCC is a mid-rise parking garage. And at times, they would have naked strippers on the roof of the parking garage dancing, while some of the inmates from the MCC would look out and actually see these women and enjoy it and get their rocks off. Now, right across the street from the MCC is probably the best pawn shop in the city of Chicago. It's one of the oldest. There's a lot of characters in there, man. From the owner to the homie to the pimp to the hustler to the dealer. Back in the day, this was a huge fencing operation for the Chicago outfit. But go in there and say hi to Randy and his brother Wayne Cohen. They'll cut you a deal. I want to throw these two heavyweights in there. John Nonos DeFranzo, boss of Chicago outfit back in the day. And then the little guy we all know, Tony Spilotro. These two never spent one night at the MCC, unlike most Chicago outfit guys. Tony Spilotro had a great lawyer that I think kept him out of the MCC. But then some people wonder about No-Nos. How come he never got indicted? How come he never got locked up? Was he very smart or very lucky or both? Thanks, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends. I always enjoy reading all your comments. And to all the haters out there, go to hell. SAD, you know what to do. This is Chicago. Please be patient with me. I'm still learning. I'm old school. I'm still learning how to create, edit, and post great content.